Have you ever wondered what Amsterdam is all about? Don't just read about the culture that has accepted cannabis. Experience it firsthand with CS Travel's Sensible Amsterdam Tour with NORML. Travel to one of Europe's most beautiful cities this January for an educational and recreational visit to a city that regulates cannabis like alcohol. CS Travel has arranged an exclusive visit for reform-minded Americans that includes a private tour of some of Amsterdam's most renowned coffee shops, educational seminars with coffee shop proprietors, local law enforcement, members of the Cannabis Retailers Association, and NORML staff. Entertainment includes a special evening at the Boom Chicago Comedy Club, canal tours, visits to the city's many museums, including the world-famous Van Gogh Museum. Don't just wonder about Amsterdam, experience the beauty and freedom of this unique city firsthand with CS Travel and NORML's Sensible Amsterdam Tour. Pricing information is available online at coffeeshoptravel.com. That's coffeeshoptravel.com. Or call toll-free at 800-816-1846. That's 800-816-1846. Be a sensible American. Visit Amsterdam with CS Travel and NORML this January. Call 1-800-816-1846 right now to book your trip. More information is available at NORML.org. And distributed by the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws in Washington, D.C. This is your daily audio stash, the growing truth about cannabis. Welcome to the most popular audio podcast regarding marijuana in all of America and all the world, featuring interviews with scientists, politicians, doctors, prohibition policy activists, regular cannabis consumers, musicians, and NORML staff and NORML's board of directors, along with music and comedy no other podcast can offer. You can always find out more about the show at our website, NORMLAudiostash.com. We're ending marijuana prohibition with education, one listener at a time. Welcome back to NORML's Daily Audio Stash. Today, it is Friday, September 7th. I'm your host, Chris Goldstein. Take a moment to join us at NORML to help end marijuana prohibition in America. Just visit NORML.org to make your donation or join NORML today. Folks, the NORML Foundation is working on a number of efforts, including the annual NORML Conference coming up October 12th and 13th in the city of Los Angeles. If you can make it out there, make your reservations now. We have links to the conference information right up on our website at NORMLAudiostash.com. NORML's also working on a piece of federal legislation. An announcement is expected on that this fall as well. So make a donation to NORML today. Help us continue with these efforts to legalize marijuana here in the U.S. We have another excellent audio stash to get you through the weekend. This weekend, we're going to speak with Tim Pate today about Portland, Oregon's hemp festival called Hempstock. That's taking place tomorrow, September 8th. We have links for more information about it at NORMLAudiostash.com. Also on the program today, our regular weekly update with Steve Bloom at CelebStoner.com and a very special set of musical guests for you today. We'll speak with Amy Nelson and Kathy Guthrie. They're members of the group Folk Uke. We saw them on stage at the Austin Freedom Fest in August, and we have links to their MySpace page and to download their songs up on iTunes right up on our website today at NORMLAudiostash.com. Kathy and Amy gave just a wonderful interview today, and we'll also have a chance to play one of the Folk Uke songs, Shit Makes the Flowers Grow. Next week on the Audio Stash, we're going to continue to highlight some of the musical artists who will be on stage for next weekend's Boston Freedom Rally. Also next week, we're going to speak with a very special set of medical marijuana patients around the country about their experience in different states under different medical cannabis laws. That's all here on your first source for marijuana news, information, and entertainment, NORML's Daily Audio Stash. Make sure to tell all your friends to download the greenest, most reform-friendly program on the internet right here every day. Let's get to our first interview today. We're going to check in with Steve Bloom at celebstoner.com.
I want to be famous. I want to wear minks and satins and pearls.
Steve Bloom has his finger on the pulse of celebrity stoners of the planet. He posts all the information and marijuana news at his website, celebstoner.com, and he joins us here each Friday. Steve, welcome back to the Stash today.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Doing very well today, Steve. There's an interesting celebstoner.com poll that has been asking smokers their preferred method of cannabis consumption. What came out on top?
They decided that the bong is their favorite method. The question that we've been asking on the site in a poll that's been running for about 2 months is, how do you prefer to consume marijuana? And this poll decided to keep it going for a long time so we could get to 1,000 votes and we could get a really good cross-section, a really broad survey. As it turns out, over time, it's just been kind of back and forth between bong and joints, and bong was the preferred method by 29% out of the 1,000 votes, or let's say out of 100%, of course, and then joints right behind that with 28%. So those were the two favorites by far. And then the four other categories were pipes with 18%, blunts 16%, vaporizers 8%, and brownies or edibles with 2%. So it's kind of clear that right now, at least among the readership, and I think, the people who come to Celeb Stoner are probably dedicated smokers, and they're, this is what they think. And I think polls are very accurate when it comes to online polling. Maybe, when you do candidate pollings and stuff like that, that could be skewed by one thing or the other. But, people are very direct. They just vote for what they want. And the only thing that can kind of skew it is, ballot stuffing or something like that, where somebody could come and vote over and over again, and they could on the site. But in this case, there's nothing that anybody would really do that. So this is very accurate. So right now, these are the two preferred methods.
Now, there was a study from Dale Geringer in California that showed that although THC is not water-soluble, there is some THC trapped in the bong water when marijuana is smoked. That same study showed good old-fashioned joints to be a pretty darn efficient THC delivery system as well.
I understand that. I know that study, and it was kind of striking because people believe that. I don't think that study really determined health. I could be wrong, but it was more that you get a little less THC, and that's kind of surprising because I think most people who smoke a bong are never going to tell you, hey, I didn't get high, or I got less high than from smoking a joint. Oftentimes people sort of get higher because of the amount of smoke that you're taking in all at once, and a lot of people take a bong rip and they just hack like crazy, more so than they probably would on a joint. It also depends on the type of marijuana, whether it's, a really good quality that, pulls out your lungs a little bit, or it's a bad quality that kind of irritates your lungs. So it really varies. But I think, in my mind, and it's not scientific, but I think the cooling factor of a bong is healthier for your artery, your lungs, and for your throat and all that. And also you can cool it down with ice and stuff like that. So it's my belief. I mean, I think, you're not inhaling anything other than the marijuana. With paper, you're getting, wood product or rice paper or hemp or whatever it is. You're getting something in addition. With a pipe, it's very clean, especially if you're using glass. And, of course, in both cases, glass and for bongs and pipes, you should use glass, which is very cleanable, so you don't have resin buildup like you used to have before there was glass. And then blunts, are the least healthy, option. I know it's very popular in the urban communities, but it's not a pure way to smoke marijuana. And vaporizers is clearly the healthiest method, but this vote indicated that people are still not, up to speed on vaporizers to the degree that they, are with bongs. And then the edibles, I guess, is just less common, and it's probably more familiar to medical patients who would rather not smoke. But so that's kind of in decreasing order. And I tend to think either or. I mean, certainly joints are better for transporting. Taking it with you, so to speak, and it's much easier. You're not going to carry a bong around, essentially, and you shouldn't. So, they have their dual purposes. That's probably why they are fairly equal in the voting, with bongs just, having just a little edge.
Now, Steve, you're also covering a number of stories with the presidential candidates, notably Governor Bill Richardson of New Mexico, who has not been quiet about his support for medical access. Although another story at Celeb Stoner highlights an individual named Leonard French, who thought he was covered by New Mexico's medical access laws but was arrested anyway. French is a paraplegic. But Bill Richardson just this weekend said, quote, "If you want to arrest someone, arrest me," close quote. He was referring to medical marijuana there. That's just about as strong a statement as any politician has made about this issue.
Yeah, Richardson's been great, although he did make a comment that he doesn't favor decriminalizing drugs, so I think he's trying to be careful about, just supporting medical use and not being branded as a legalizer. But what happened last week was a paraplegic patient, medical patient, one of the first people who had registered in the state of New Mexico, which only, became the 12th state to legalize medical marijuana earlier this year, and only, started the program back in July, and they've been having problems with the program because the health department has been basically saying, we're not going to provide it, which apparently the bill is requiring, because they're fearful of federal arrests. And so, Richardson's kind of getting caught in the middle in a bind, although according to this particular patient, Leonard French, who's in a wheelchair. He had a motorcycle accident 10 years ago, and he took, it's the same story you hear from every medical patient. I've taken every pharmaceutical drug they gave me. It knocks me out. It makes me, unable to basically, just go through my day because I have to sleep a lot. I can't, you're not really capable of being like a functioning human being on so many, pharmaceutical drugs. Plus, here's a guy in a wheelchair to begin with. And so they discover marijuana, and it's like a miracle to them because they can titrate it, which is, of course, the term where they can, use the amount that they want. They don't have to take one pill that's going to take a while to start having an effect and maybe having too strong an effect, whereas marijuana, like he says, he can smoke but not get stoned because he takes a puff or two and all of a sudden he feels a little bit better. And so this gentleman, was starting to has been using marijuana illegally, until the law came into effect. He got he registered and he thought, well, now I'm safe. And he bought like a system, some sort of grow system, I guess an indoor system, and he started growing 6 plants. And according to the stories I've read, they said that 4 plants was the limit. And I'm not totally clear on maybe you can fill me in on this, but not totally clear on what the law really states. I thought the law pretty much states that the state of New Mexico has to provide marijuana to the patients, and the patients can't grow it themselves. But in his case, he claims that the legal limit was 4, and even the DEA who came in and arrested him, they didn't know that he was a registered patient. They didn't go out of their way, or they claim that they can't be told when they ask. And so there's kind of a really, he got caught, in the middle of this whole, controversy in New Mexico. And I think a guy like him, is typical of, again, what's going on in California with so many patients, especially patients in wheelchairs, are just trying to medicate themselves. And, they're front and center of the medical marijuana movement now. I mean, you look at somebody in a wheelchair, somebody who really is disabled, and they find a way, that makes their lives better, and yet the government's saying no. And then they barge in on a guy like this. And here, it was a raid where they didn't break in his doors and stuff. There was some sort of tip. The guy lives in some little area called Malaga, New Mexico, which is on the border of Texas and Mexico. It's probably a pretty small community, yet there was a tip. Somebody actually was kind of like informing on this guy. It's unbelievable, but nevertheless, they came, knocked on the door, the police is here. He thought they basically wanted to check with him to make sure he's legal and doing everything right. No, they were there to bust him, and they did. And they claimed that because he was over the limit, they're going to prosecute. I doubt it. I'm pretty sure the charges will be dropped. It's just so trivial, but look at a guy like him and say, this is the problem, and I think, when the government does things like this, it pushes the issue out, more and more into the mainstream. Who cannot relate to a gentleman in a wheelchair trying to medicate himself, and then the police come in and arrest him? It's terrible.
It is indeed, and hopefully federal marijuana decriminalization will help protect patients across the country. Now, Steve, you're also going to be in attendance and on stage for the Boston Freedom Rally next week.
I will be. I will be speaking on stage at 3:30 on Saturday afternoon at the Boston Common on September 15th. And also, the night before, they're having an awards presentation, and I will be introducing my favorite band, Herbal Nation.
Right. Well, we're going to have some special podcasts right from the Boston Freedom Rally. NORML's daily audio stash will be there. Steve, I want to thank you again for joining us this week for our CelebStoner.com update.
All right, Chris.
Steve Bloom joins us each Friday here on the audio stash to talk about the headlines and news posted on his new website, CelebStoner.com.
You're listening to NORML's Daily Audio Stash.
Next up today, we're going to talk about hemp stock. Joining us today to talk about this great fall event in Portland, Oregon, is musician, master pumpkin carver, and a driving force behind the Portland hemp stock, Tim Pate. Tim, welcome back to the program today.
Well, thank you for inviting me onto your show, Chris. I appreciate being here.
Great to speak with you today, Tim. Always wonderful to hear you live on stage at places like Seattle's HempFest. Tell us a bit about this event happening tomorrow in Portland. How did hemp stock originate?
Well, over the years in Oregon, we've been putting on hemp festivals, and I remember the first one we did back in '92. But this is one that we've been putting on the waterfront in Portland for the last 3 years, well, 2 years prior to this year. We called it Hemp Stock, and this is the third annual event of this one. We had to change venues this year. We had a battle with the city. They denied us our permit because last year we had a medicating tent, where we allowed patients with licenses to come into the tent and medicate. And so the city didn't like that a lot, and they denied us our permit over that. And the ACLU came in and wrote them a letter and said, well, you know, we appreciate what you're trying to do, but we hope it's not viewpoint discrimination because that would be a clear violation of free speech. And so we were granted permission to attempt a permit again, and we've been working on that ever since. And so far, it seems like everything is working in our favor, and we will have an event this weekend.
Righto. Now tell us about what will be happening this weekend. Who will be on stage?
Well, our main attraction is Tommy Chong. He's coming with his wife, Shelby, and they'll be dancing the weekend away on main stage. He's going to be our MC for the weekend. We're bringing in the Herbivores, the house band of the Seattle Hemp Fest. I'm very excited about Jim Matheson and his group coming in. We're also bringing Los Marijuanos from Las Vegas. I just absolutely love them. They're wonderful people and great entertainers. Besides that, we will have an opening and closing ceremony by our First Nations group of Native Americans from Washington State, and they will also be blessed by a Buddhist monk named Adi, who on an annual basis helps us with that event. We have over 24 speakers from Jack Herrera, and I could just rather than forget any, I'll not name too many, but I know Vivian McPeak from the Seattle Hemp Fest will be there, and I'm always excited to have him around. He's a shining star in our movement and an old friend of mine, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have him come back and speak this year. We'll have, at least 15 bands from all over the West Coast, and the state of Jefferson from Southern Oregon is coming. The Sinners Club will be there. Ngaio Belam, who you've had on your show before, a comedian, will be there as well. And Derek Cameron, who's been on HBO, he's a comedian. He'll be there both days. And Biggie and the Seventh Seal Reggae Band, a local favorite of mine. Late Night Freakout Odyssey, I Shall and the Circle of Light is coming. On Cue, a local jazz group that I'm really thrilled about. Pass Margot and Equalize from Idaho, a new group that we had last year come as Frame of Mind, and they've regrouped into another group, and they're called Equalize, and they are just as hot as pancakes. So I'm just thrilled. I'm thrilled about the lineup and the speakers. We've got nearly 100 booths that will be all around the area that we've got outlined, and it's in Portland on the waterfront at Selwood Riverfront Park. It's right next to Oaks Park. So if you can find Selwood Bridge or find Oaks Park, you can find where we're going to be. And we've got a lot of cooperation now. We've got security, and the police will be cooperating with us, and it seems like everything is moving in the right direction. A lot of good volunteers who've just been working like crazy people, little ants all over the place. And it's a wonderful thing once you realize you're not alone in this movement, and that there are other people who want to help you. And want this movement to continue on. And so I'm thrilled about that. Madeline Martinez is going to be speaking, and so is Russ Belville. Radical Russ will be there as well. And so it just seems like all of the local favorites will be there. Some national and international names will be there, and we're looking for a very good show.
And how many people come out for Hempstock each year, Tim?
Well, it's... The first year, we had about 8,000 people and about 30 booths. Last year, we had 15,000 people and about 70 booths. So this year, we're actually going to have more than 70 booths, it looks like, and I'm expecting more than 15,000 people. It just seems like these things tend to grow once people know they've been once, they want to go each year, and they always seem to bring a friend or two. So the movement continues to grow, and I'm very pleased about that. We try to put on a very good event, and because of that, it's well attended in this area, and we expect it. That's one of the reasons why we fought so hard to do it this year. If you miss out on a year, you can lose momentum. And I've been involved with the Seattle Hemp Fest since 1995, and I've watched it continue to grow each year. This year we had 140,000 people pass the main gate by 3 o'clock on Saturday. And so it's just a tremendous event. And because of that, we know we're not alone. And the people out there, the politicians, they have to listen to us. They know we have a voice. They know it's one that's real, and they know that when we feel like our rights have been offended, we will act on that. And because of that, they're beginning to respect us.
And I have to ask, how does the media there treat this event? Well,
the Oregonian ran a small article months ago about the fact that we did not get our permit, and so they have not run anything so far saying that we have gotten no permit and that we are going to have an event. But it seems like the leftist media is very happy to see us and hear from us and write articles about us. The Willamette Week up here in Portland wrote an article a few weeks ago saying that the hemp stock was back on again, and so they realizing that the battle we've had, we appreciate you also allowing us to speak our message out there, because it's been a long road this year. We've had to fight, and we just found out like 2.5 weeks ago that we were actually going to have an event. So we've had to put this all together in short order, but I've had experience at that before. Back in '92, when Jerry Garcia got sick, he was going to play at the Oregon Country Fairgrounds, and I happened to be chairman of the board of directors of Whitebird Clinic, and my band was going to open that year, and I had this vision that we were going to have a show anyway, and so I was, with their permission and the blessings of the Keeseys and Babses, I put on the Life After Dead show out of Bill Condi's place, and it took us 8 days to put that together, but we had 36 bands from 6 states, so it ended up working out rather well. It seemed like everybody showed up but Jerry, so we all signed a huge card for him and said, "Get well soon." But I've tried to instill the volunteers here, because some of them were panicked at the very beginning when they realized we had short order, that, hey, we can do this. And so right now, it seems like everybody believes that it's going to happen, because it's just a couple of days away now, and all the pieces are, falling into place as we speak. So I'm just thrilled that we have a group of people who can believe in the message and the mission, and move right on without any hesitation.
Well, Tim, this has been a great conversation here today, and I hope everyone has a fun and safe event tomorrow.
It has been a pleasure to be with you today, Chris. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you again, Tim. Tim Pate is a musician, a master pumpkin carver, and a driving force behind Portland's Hempstock. We have links for more information about the event right up on our website at normalaudiostash.com. Stay tuned. Coming up next is Kathy Guthrie and Amy Nelson of the group Folk Uke.
What's up, y'all? This is Soja, and you are right now listening to NORML's Daily Audio Stash. Big up yourself.
When I was at the Austin Freedom Fest in August, one of the groups that made a really great impression because of their wonderful voices and really original lyrics was the group Folk Uke. It's comprised of Kathy Guthrie, Arlo Guthrie's daughter, and Amy Nelson, Willie Nelson's daughter. They've been playing together for quite some time, and their new musical incarnation is a bit irreverent with their lyrics, but they sure are showstoppers out there, and they have a great sound. It gives me great pleasure to welcome them here to the program today. Amy and Kathy, welcome here to the Audio Stash. Tell us, how did this unique group start up for you?
I think maybe our friendship was what brought us together, or our families were friends with each other. So I guess technically our families were friends with each other before we were friends. Our parents were friends anyways.
Yeah.
And,
we kind of grew up together but separate. We had the same kind of lifestyle, and our parents knew each other, and
we kept missing each other at all the farm aids.
Yeah.
We kept going to alternate farm aids and never meeting each other.
So, coming from these musical families, did they put guitars in your hands at 2 years old, or was there a more relaxed approach to music for you?
I quit guitar lessons. My dad was teaching me when I was little, and I was like, but it hurts my fingers. But your fingers are hard and strong, and mine are little, and it hurts, and I quit. and I picked it up when I was in my early 20s again. So, yeah, and then I quit piano lessons for cartoons.
Yeah, I had piano lessons as a child, too, but then I started playing ukulele, which doesn't hurt my fingers. So it all worked out.
Ukulele hurts less. Kathy plays more uke. She plays the uke, and I play the guitar for the most
Because I
part.
have sensitive little fingers.
Yeah, and mine are strong and hard.
Now, you both have such wonderful voices. You really could play anything. But, what brought you to some of these songs that are both funny and elicit such a response from the crowd?
I think it's our personalities. I think we're terrible actors, and I think that we just are who we are, you know what I mean? And we're both really kind of sarcastic, and we like to joke around a lot, and I think it just kind of, it's in our songs, and we have fun, and we can't get away from the music in our family. It's in our blood. So it's some sort of combination of that, I think.
That's a good answer,
Right on.
Kathy.
Thanks. I worked on it for a while. I knew he was going to ask it.
Well, we do have to talk about some of these songs. What makes you write a tune like Shit Makes the Flowers Grow?
I think it's our organic song. We're trying to go green.
Yeah, I think we just kind of started off with the title, and then we were like, wow, that's true. We have to do something about that. And then Kathy came up with "You're Not Good for Nothing," and then it just came out from there.
It was probably the easiest song we ever wrote. It just, as fast as we could write, we were coming up with the next line.
Yeah.
And it just kind of wrote itself. It was just one of those songs that was and it was fun, and it was fun to play, and so we kept doing it. And
we got together with a couple girlfriends, and they actually helped us write it, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Christopherson and Mary Lynn Vernon.
Yeah, we were all yelling out the next line.
Uh-huh. And then all that night we were running around singing it and annoying all of our friends with our new song.
Now we get to annoy a lot more people.
That's very cool. And, there's the song up there, Knock Me Up, which got such a great response there in Austin. I played it for my wife. She absolutely loved it.
Seems like a lot more people can relate to it than we thought in the very beginning.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning we just thought it would be a fun... didn't we think it was a funny song title again, and we just went from there?
Yeah, and originally it was in the key, the chord progression was D-A-D.
Oh, yeah.
And then it kind of changed.
There's all kinds of words to knock me up that never actually came out.
Yeah, we could probably write a whole, volume 2.
Yeah, Knock Me Up Part 2. That's a good idea.
Still.
And, is there something about the tradition of folk music that also lends itself to adding some of these humorous songs and lyrics in there?
Kathy? Oh, gosh, I don't know. That's a good question. I would just say that, I grew up with folk music, and it just seems like the music, it's the music of the folks. It's music for people. I don't really know. I think it's such a broad genre that you can put just about anything into a folk music category.
Yeah, and Shit Makes the Flowers Grow could be a political song, too, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah. You can... manipulated a little bit.
Right.
Did you get any calls from Al Gore, go on tour with the Green Earth tour with Shit Makes the Flowers Grow? Or
We're expecting
no,
him
yet.
day.
I'm sitting by the phone. I know he's going to call. I know it.
Yeah.
And let me ask, what's the best part of playing for both of you? Is it the live performance or the recording?
We were really nervous to play it first.
Yeah.
Play live, because really we would just sit in one of our living rooms and play songs, and then, and then we ended up with like an album's worth, and all of a sudden it was time to record. So that was fun when we did that, and that was a great project, and it took us a while to do that one. And then when it came time to actually perform our songs for people, we were like, oh, no.
No way.
So I think the thing is it's great, because I think probably the main reason that both of us did the live performance things is because we were afraid of it, and we knew that both of us have a thing about facing our fears, and we know that, you can't just give in to fear, so we kind of just did it that way. And now it's not really as scary anymore. Well, I guess it's a little scary, but it's
not for us.
Yeah, it's scary for everybody else.
Again, you've been playing out a bit and perhaps getting some recognition for these very original songs.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of recognition we get.
Yeah, we'll see how that one goes. Yeah. That's one of those that I'm not sure that they actually understand our music.
Yeah, and my stepmother is the one who invited us on that show, because she has a biodiesel foundation that show is benefiting, and so I think that Hard Rock Cafe didn't beg us to go play for them. It was kind of a
they might beg us not to play.
Yeah.
You're going to play what?
And, I have to ask, do people want to book you as an act because of your names and because of coming from these musical families?
I'm sure there's some sort of curiosity that comes along with that if they, but I don't know. I mean, we don't actually get booked a lot.
Yeah, we get booked a lot.
Yeah, our offers aren't exactly, filling up our
I don't
mailbox.
think so. I don't think people necessarily, maybe some people would want to hear us because of who our dads are, but I don't think it's necessarily how it works with the venues, because usually they don't want to book you unless they think you're going to draw a crowd, or, it's not quite, I don't necessarily think it's quite so easy as just being our dad's daughters. Not yet, anyways.
Have you ever had a crowd with a totally awestruck reaction to the songs?
I think that was our most powerful show, and that was when I got over my fear, was when we had the show where we were met with complete silence.
That was the Woody Fest, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like one of our first shows, because we were terrified to play, and then once we had that show and we lived through it, it couldn't get any worse. And so we were like, well, hey, it's not so bad after all. We did it. It was bad, and we're okay. And finally the crowd kind of warmed up to us a little bit, too, but I think it was Knock Me Up that we played, and
we were going to do our tame songs.
Yeah, it was.
These dads like, oh, do some of the good ones. Can do any of the good ones? And we're like, oh, okay, well, maybe Shit Makes Flowers Grow. And he's like, no, do Knock Me Up at least. And so then we decided to, and we put it on the set list, and the whole front row was kids. And we're like, all right, here we go. And people started chuckling along, and they seemed to enjoy it. But then as soon as Kathy said Love Injection, the whole crowd fell silent, and the silence was louder than any of the chuckles from there on out. And it was funny, but it was interesting being up on stage and realizing that it's more uncomfortable in the crowd than it is on stage during moments like that. And I always feared that moment, and it really wasn't that scary. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, I think when my fear went away, that was the moment.
I think so too.
Well, it does take a lot of courage to play songs like this and bring a little humor out there as well.
Maybe. I think the opposite is true too, though. I think it would be harder to get out there and just pour my heart out with some song that I wrote about how I had got my heart broken sometime, and then have people clinking and talking over me as I'm, trying to. I don't know. I think I would much rather be kind of a little bit lighter,
sarcastic, bitter.
It's almost maybe, yeah. It's almost easier to get out there. And sometimes, the crowd might be intimidating, but you think about what you're about to sing to them, and it's funny, so it makes it less scary because you know that you're about to freak these people out.
Right. And our intention also isn't really to be a comedy act. We're not really trying to be funny. I mean, I know that some of our lyrics are kind of funny, but they're not. We don't have all funny songs. We actually have some songs that aren't funny, And,
yeah. We kind of don't have enough funny songs.
Or we'll do we'll do a couple funny ones, and then we'll do one that's not funny, and people laugh because they think we're trying to be funny.
Right, and then you're
awkward.
like, ooh, now we need to keep it up and have another funny one, but we already did all our funny ones, and the rest are serious, and it's awkward from there on out. So.
And it's awkward for them because we're like that comedian that's bombing on stage, and you laugh, like... Yeah. When, really, we're just not trying to be funny. Not everything is funny. So.
Right. We didn't set out to be a comedy act. We just wanted to play our songs, and some of them happen to be funny. But those are the people's favorites, apparently.
Yeah, but we screw up a lot, and that's kind of funny.
Yeah, and people like that, too.
Yeah. They think that's part of the act.
Yeah.
We kind of tell them it is, but it's not really.
So, I have to wonder, you have a MySpace page up there for Folk Uke, and you're also on iTunes. What do you think about all this web-based distribution of music these days?
Yeah, we get a lot of people find us because we covered the song Tonight You Belong to Me. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people find us through that, and then they go, oh, well, that's not a bad version. So they hear the rest of the stuff, and they go, oh. And actually, I'm sure we don't get the emails from people who probably go, that's awful. But we do get nice emails from people. I'm sure the people who don't like it just let it go.
CD Baby's also been really helpful, too.
Yeah.
Aren't they the reason that we're getting, we'll just get, someone will buy our album from the other side of the world or something for some reason, and it's because they found it on CD Baby, so.
Yeah, that's a good way to go, I think, for anyone who's trying to be an independent.
That was a good idea.
Get signed or anything,
Yeah.
It's easy, too. It's really
and they don't take a really big cut. They're like...
We're doing a commercial for CD Baby.
Yeah, we are.
A big plug for CD Baby there for sure. What's next for you guys as a group? Will there be more CDs, perhaps some music videos?
I think we need our own TV show. Isn't that what everyone does? As soon as you get one record out, then you
really,
have
we just want to be actors. So first we have to wait tables.
Oh, right. No, I did that already.
Oh, good.
I was terrible at it.
We actually did make a music video for Shit Makes the Flowers Grow.
Yeah, we were, I thought it was really good, too.
Mm-hmm.
It was
a low budget.
Snapdragons. We used little Snapdragons.
Right on. Well, Amy and Kathy, this has just been a wonderful conversation here today. It really has been a great pleasure to have you here on the podcast. We'll have links to Folk Uke up on MySpace and their iTunes account right up at normalaudiostash.com. Thank you again for joining us today.
Great. Thanks so much. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us.
No worries. This has really been great. Amy Nelson and Kathy Guthrie are Folk Uke. They were on stage at the Austin Freedom Fest in August. Play out frequently there in the Austin area. Again, we have links to them at normalaudiostash.com. And this is their very appropriate song we're going to play today. It's called Shit Makes the Flowers Grow.
Flowers grow. Oh, shit makes the flowers grow. I wondered why you're here, but now I know. Shit makes the flowers grow. I'm a dainty little flower, got the power to fertilize my makes the flowers grow. I wondered why you're here, but now I know. Shit makes the flowers grow. My bones, but I know karate. I studied it for 8 years. Shit makes the flowers grow. Oh, shit makes the flowers grow. Oh, shit makes the flowers grow.
Kathy Guthrie and Amy Nelson there with Folk Uke. Oh, we have links to their iTunes page and also their MySpace page right up on our website today at normalaudiostash.com. Stay tuned next week here to the Audio Stash. We're going to speak with a few medical cannabis patients across the country. We're also going to highlight some of the musicians who will be on stage for next weekend's Boston Freedom Rally. Tune in every day to your daily Audio Stash. Thanks for listening today, everyone. Have a great weekend. This has been NORML's Daily Audio Stash, the growing truth about cannabis. Visit our website at normalaudiostash.com. If you listen to the Audio Stash, vote for us at Podcast Alley or other podcast directory services. I'm your host, Chris Goldstein. Thanks for listening today. Everyone have a fun summer weekend out there, and we're back at 4:20 on Monday. The podcasting technology of NORML is made possible by Red Aphid Interactive Media. More information at redaphid.com.